Hi, I'm Kyle Hansen. I'm demoing my project for my computer graphics class. The purpose of the project is for a plausible motion blur, as you can see with the bouncing block there. There's also this block here that I can move myself to show it a little more exaggerated. You'll notice it's not exactly a strictly correct blur. That's the trade-offs made in the project for execution time. And there's several parameters here that we can play with. We can reduce the number of samples taken when doing the blur. It creates a rougher image, especially if we turn off the jitter. Generally about 15 tends to be a pretty good sampling rate. That's what they used in the paper, as long as your computer can handle it. Of course, I can exaggerate the blur if I want, but for the most part it looks best if you just keep it roughly the same. This parameter for the depth comparison affects how strictly it handles depth. If you have it turned too strongly one way or the other, you'll have blur bleeding into the stuff in front or behind it. And if it's turned really strongly, you don't get that as much, but it tends to have some other issues sometimes. Like it might not blur when you want it to. But that's the main things to show, so I'll just kind of play around with it a little bit so you can see a little bit more of the effect. There's also the effect can happen for the whole world, although depending on how fast you're moving, it can cause some issues here and there. And then you'll also notice it gets issues around the edges, so you're just supposed to kind of avoid those situations. But anyway, that is the Plausible Motion Blur filter.